I'm sure there's a lot of people that wish this match would have happened, and I'm one of them. Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels. Following the passing of Eddie Guerrero, it became clear that HBK was going to be Eddie Guerrero's challenger, or it was going to be Eddie Guerrero versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania in 2006. And when Eddie passed away, that match was off, and it became Shawn Michaels versus John Cena instead. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm sure a number of fans would have loved to have seen two of the very best in the wrestling business, two of the very best to ever lace up a pair of boots, lock horns, one on the grandest stage of them all. And that's exactly what WWE 2K23 is giving us. Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels. Evenly matched contest thus far between Eddie and Shawn. Shawn goes for a Hurricane Rana. Eddie catches him, blocking him, drops him with a power bomb. Eddie drops Shawn with a power bomb. T-bone suplex, and that shows the intensity of Eddie Guerrero that he's able to bridge in that T-bone. Shawn kicks out at the count of one. Eddie's trying to tighten up the hamstring of Shawn Michaels to make it harder for Shawn to move around the ring. If your hamstring is tight, you ever have a Charlie horse? Just imagine that when you're trying to wrestle. It don't feel good under normal circumstances. It ain't gonna feel good in the ring. Eddie just got powerbombed to the floor by Shawn Michaels. Eddie just got powerbombed from the inside outside by Shawn Michaels. What a maneuver there by the Heartbreak Kid. Shawn's going after the knee of Eddie Guerrero. Eddie wants to go after Shawn's hamstring. Shawn will go after Eddie's knee. Shawn gets knocked into the ropes. Into the barricade. Eddie, we saw this in his match with Angle, but he's able to lock this in his match with Shawn. But it's too early in the match with Shawn to get any sort of traction with the Gory Special as Shawn fights his way out of the Gory Special on the outside. Back to the ring they go at the count of 6. Eddie finds himself up top as Shawn gets himself back up. Eddie hits the missile dropkick off the top rope on the Heartbreak Kid. Let her press, and a 2 count from Eddie Guerrero off the missile dropkick as the Heartbreak Kid is got to get himself back in this matchup as Eddie drops him with a Flying Man Rana. Eddie gets caught off guard. You can't even leave a slight crack in that window, because if you leave a slight crack in the window, the Heartbreak Kid will find a way to make you regret it, and that's what he almost did with Eddie Guerrero as Eddie was caught off guard with a small package from Shawn Michaels. Shawn gets sent to the outside by Eddie Guerrero sailing over the top rope. But this time I don't think Eddie's going to follow him to the floor as the Heartbreak Kid takes a moment to posture. And the longer that Shawn Michaels takes getting back in the ring, the more likely it is that Eddie's going to follow him to the floor. But Eddie lets Shawn get back into the ring. To say that these two do not respect each other, it is clear that the Heartbreak Kid and Eddie Guerrero do have the utmost respect for one another, as Eddie showed that by letting Shawn get back in the ring unobstructed. Eddie gets dropped face first into the top rope. Eddie gets dropped face first into the top rope by the Heartbreak Kid. Shawn blocks Eddie again. Eddie blocks Shawn coming back. Goes for an eye poke. Shawn blocks him. Eddie blocks him. Eddie lands the eye poke the second time around, but Shawn blocks him again. What a seesaw battle this match has been. What a seesaw battle this is between two of the very best. Eddie showing his quickness, taking down Shawn Michaels with an arm drag. Eddie rocks Shawn. Groggy against the ropes is the Heartbreak Kid. Slingshot suplex by Eddie Guerrero. Down goes the Heartbreak Kid. Slight hesitation there from Eddie Guerrero, but after the slingshot suplex, Shawn gets a 2 count. Kicks out at the count of 2, and Eddie can't believe that the Heartbreak Kid was able to kick out. Eddie, pop the hips once. And pop the hips twice. It's the three amigos from Latino Heat. And you know what that follows up to. You know what comes next. Shawn's in the middle of the ring. Eddie's up top. Frog splash! The frog splash! The frog splash! Shawn kicked out! Shawn kicked out! Eddie is frustrated. Eddie is frustrated. Shawn kicked out again. Shawn kicked out again. Eddie is frustrated that Shawn kicked out. Eddie gets drilled with the flying forearm. Eddie gets drilled with the flying forearm. The inverted atomic drop. And the scoop slam. Shawn is hesitating. Shawn doesn't know what to do next. I don't know if Shawn Michaels is doubting himself, but it looks like Eddie Guerrero is split open as Shawn goes for his, I believe, what might be his first ladder press of the matchup. Shawn with a big right hand. Knocks down Eddie. Shawn's going up top. The elbow. The elbow from the Heartbreak Kid into the heart of Latino Heat. He's tuning up the band. Shawn Michaels is tuning up the band. Could this be it? Could this be the sweet chin music? Yes, yes, yes. But Shawn Michaels can't capitalize immediately. Shawn is now in a ladder press. Could this be it? Eddie kicked out. Eddie kicked out. Eddie kicked out. For a match that's only been going 7 minutes, it makes it seem like this has been going 20 minutes. But, I mean, two of my favorites in the history of professional wrestling. Two of my all-time favorites. So it's hard for me not to get excited seeing these two in the ring. Basement dropkick by Shawn takes down Eddie. Shawn is just laying waste to Eddie Guerrero now in this interpromotional matchup. Blatant disrespect by the Heartbreak Kid. He's basically saying he's done with Latino Heat. Dropping an elbow on Eddie Guerrero is Shawn Michaels. Eddie's got to get himself back in. Eddie's got to get himself back in. He's got to find a way. Eddie's rolling to the outside, trying to create some distance between himself and the Heartbreak Kid. Eddie scores with the forearm. Eddie gets himself back into the ring. Eddie Guerrero never stops fighting. Eddie Guerrero with an eye poke. Catches Michaels off guard. The Heartbreak Kid with a springboard crossbody. The Heartbreak Kid with a springboard crossbody. Shawn capitalizes. Shawn capitalizes. Drops Eddie with a sweet chin music. Drops Eddie with a sweet chin music. This could be it. Eddie kicked out. Eddie kicked out. Eddie kicked out. You gotta wonder if this is that Shawn is showing a level of frustration we haven't seen on the Heartbreak Kid in a long time. Eddie goes for the roll up. 2. Shawn kicked out. Shawn kicked out. Running Hurricane Rana from Eddie Guerrero. Running Hurricane Rana from Eddie Guerrero. Shawn is showing a level of intensity. A level of just not caring, in my opinion. Eddie with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex takes down Shawn Michaels. Look at the blood on the forehead of Eddie Guerrero. Shawn draws Eddie in. Eddie draws Shawn in. Back and forth. This is a match that unfortunately we have not been able to see these two lock horns more than just this once. And honestly, it's a damn shame because this is what professional wrestling is all about with what these two give every single time they're in the ring. It is exactly what professional wrestling is all about, as we saw this earlier, and we're seeing it again. Eddie's dropping Shawn with the three amigos. Eddie's dropping Shawn with the three amigos. Eddie's up top. Eddie's up top. Eddie with the frog splash. Eddie with the frog splash. Ladder press. 3. Eddie defies the odds. Eddie defies the odds. Eddie Guerrero with blood on his face, showing the effects of his contest against the Heartbreak Kid. Eddie Guerrero showing the after effects of a battle, of a war between himself and the Heartbreak Kid on the grandest stage. Eddie earned the right to call himself the victor against the Heartbreak Kid in a hard fought battle. With that being said, that is it from me, and I will see you in the next one.